is really the way I want it with this setup, so that I can have some distance between Wes and me, which allows me to be able to take care of some other things that I need to take care of. Like today, at some point, I have to go bring my 1099 information to my accountant so she can send that out. I need to look at a couple jobs this week with Forrester, so that's good. Also, we got some rain over the weekend, and luckily I was really nervous that it was gonna going to pull the frost out of the field that we're coming through. Not necessarily the whole field, but there's a couple spots. The spot I think I mentioned that I was trying to freeze in, and there was a couple other spots, but it actually held up pretty good. So, and it's not supposed to get real cold this week, but it's going to get cold enough. We held off on the trucking today. It barely got around freezing last night, but I think we're going to try it tonight and certainly the next day. And so we've had last week was a good week. Not really sure what Mark called yet. I think it was somewhere between 15, 17 loads, and by the end of today we'll have about that much on the yard. So, which is a lot for us to have 10, 15 tractor trailer loads piled up, but that's okay. It also helps consistency, just like the buffer between Wes and me. That's important too. So I'm gonna stop the video right here. I'll be back. I'm not done with the video. I'll probably show you a little more of what I was talking about with the parts of the road that I was concerned about, and a couple other things, but I'll be back. So this is a continuation of yesterday's video because I got sidetracked, and I think I left off, I can't quite remember where I left that video off, but it was really warm, and the measuring wheel, I wished I had got some more video, but the measuring wheel stopped working because that fitting got pinched off and cut the wires. And then in the process of it, I'll show you guys a little later, I couldn't get the cap off to get to the encoder. So I had to take the whole measuring wheel arm off, which fits right in there where those pinholes are, and it would retract up in there. So I had to take the knife off to do that. And then this is the wiring harness for the measuring wheel. It goes down through the center of this head back to this junction box right here, and it's a pain in the butt to get out. Any of you had these machines done it before? No. So I was just thinking, oh, this would be easier if I hooked up my ratchet strap, and then I can go slow and pull it out. I've got a piece of spare harness that's not the right one hooked to pull down through the head, so that when I get the new line, it's a hydraulic line, but when I get the line made and get the harness through it, I can pull it back through with this. So at the same time, we had a real warm hole. It was wicked warm out there, so we blew out a hole, and Wes had to tighten tracks and stuff. So I'm just gonna drive ahead and see if I can't. There we go. Look at it. It's pulling itself right out. Hey, it's pulling the truck sideways a little bit. Holy cow. Guess I'll go back and check it out. I guess I had to get a little different angle and pull it through here instead of out of the side, but it seems like it's starting to come now. So Wes is tightening up the tracks over there. It's supposed to get cold tonight, so we should be able to start trucking again. Okay, so I figured it out why it was coming so hard. I'm yanking on it because this really doesn't make any sense to me, but, and again, I guess it's not that hard if you figure it out. So in my old machine, you would just run a line from there, that fitting right there with that encoder wire hooks to the bottom of that, and then the encoder wire comes up through, and then I hook it into the connections, the opposite side of that one. But they had the encoder line go past the junction box, down through here, and then up through here, right there, which might make it a little easier to thread in, but I didn't know that, so I'm yanking on it. It's never going to come out looped like that, so it should pop right out now. Yeah, and of course it comes right out. And it didn't come out with the hell. Huh. That was weird. So what I've decided to do, and I did this on my old one, is I'm gonna run the wiring harness hose down through the inside of this head here. It'll run down through here into there, and then hook in to run down through here and into there and hook into the junction box. So what I did last time is I drilled a hole right here, and then I torched it out a little bit wider so that the hose can fit up through. And then once I get the measuring wheel thing back, or the arm off, it'll hook right down in there. Actually, it works. Basically, at that point, then I can, if we have this wiring harness issue again, I can replace it in very quick, easy time. Okay, so that's the wiring harness. This 45 hooks up on the measuring wheel arm, which I'll show you. Well, I should have that back today. So here's the little hole I drilled, and then I'll use the torch to widen it out. Alright, well there's the hole. Torch hat out, and that should fit right through there. Alright, well, got the harness fed in through this side, so I'll zip tie it to there, running down through. And I've got to clean this up a little. I'll have to probably zip tie it around these two holes. I want to hold it in on the inside of this and around this hydraulic line. And then I got the harness up through. I just got to wire it up. So much more simple. And it's not like it has pressure going through it, so chafing or anything, so it'll hold up. They run those hydraulic lines up through there, so I never had any problem when I did it with my other head. So much simpler. What do you think, Timber? Well, we're waiting for the Forester. We're gonna look at a couple jobs. So there goes Forester's got to get something to drink, right, Timber? Hey, what do you think? You're looking at that? That's somebody else's load of wood. That's not ours. That's that nasty, disgusting, awful 8-foot wood that goes to the oldest, most archaic dump mill in the world. Just joking. Can you tell I'm not an 8-foot fan? Anyways, we're gonna go look at a couple jobs this morning. My measuring wheel isn't done yet. I can't remember if I said it because this video is gonna, at this point, spread out over the whole week. There he goes. It's but the bearing ended up being bad on the measuring wheel too, so I brought that over yesterday. So I'm gonna look at these couple jobs. Hopefully that's all put together by the time I'm done with this. Plus Mark's running out of trip tickets already, which I guess it's not a bad thing. So I probably have to run by the job. And give Mark those trip tickets before I go look at the next job after this one, because I think he said in about 4 hours he'll be on his last one. So I'll go over there first, and I have a couple trip ticket books in my truck, and the fire suppression guy is supposed to come out and I think update our fire suppression systems on the machine. So whatever, I'll be back. Well, we looked at that first job, and there's some nice wood there, and I think it's on a non-posted road. So for those of you who don't know, this in the Northeast, or at least in Maine this time of year, because of the cold weather and the frost, when it gets cold enough, for some of you guys down in the south, like AC Cobb, they probably don't get any frost. And here, you get a cold winter and there'll be 3 or 4 feet of frost in the ground. Well, when it warms up and it starts to go out, the frost goes out from the top down, and basically whatever is on top of that frost is pretty soft and liquidy. So the state posts the roads with weight limits to protect the roads. So non-posted roads are roads that are on a state route or state highway. I think the state doesn't post most, like a 106 or a 37 or route whatever. So I believe that's not posted. The ground's not too bad, but we'll just see how the rest of the winter works out. I got right behind Mark here. I had to stop here before I go look at the next job of the Forester, because I didn't realize Mark only had 2 trip tickets left. And the trip ticket book is a book that he fills out all the landowner and harvest information, mill destination, his information, and it has carbon copies, and that's kind of how we keep track of everything. So I got to give him an extra book, and then I'm off to look at the next job. What do you think?
Considering a graduate degree, joining Crosby, Stills, and Nash are putting much needed lunch break live and local Portland Diner. Empathy for every.
Alrighty, well, this is the finished product. In the end of this video, that's pretty much taken all week long, mainly because it just kind of drug on and I never finished anything. So this is the measuring wheel right here, and it's supposed to have a little drag to it so it doesn't freewheel too fast. So, and let me flip it over, because actually this cap right here that's bolted on the end screws in right there, and this is the wiring harness that was left. Right in here is the encoder, and this is what I couldn't this piece that's right below here is what I couldn't or this is what I couldn't get out of the right here, and that's why I took this off. And when I took it off, I looked at it and it was cracked across here, the pin boss. And then I flip it back over. It was also, you can't see it now, but where the wire comes down through, it's hollower down in here, and it cracked into, here. So they welded that. And what they did here was there was a little more room for thickness, so Don milled this out. So the old pin boss, he has I think it's called a Bridgeport machine. And they pretty much, it cut all of the old pin boss out. So this was all chewed out right to about like here. And it's thicker. So he got, I think probably solid stock, milled a hole the same size as the bushing, the pin fit through, and put a whole new pin boss, thicker. This whole round piece that fits in here and goes around, that was it's all a brand new piece. And so it's going to be much better than factory. And they were, thinking ahead, they took some MIG wire, and this is where the that's the fitting that pinched off the old harness. So that's what we replaced, or that harness. So, and he put this MIG wire here so that when I put this in, I can electric tape the new harness to this and pull it down through into the encoder. Otherwise, it would be a real pain in the butt to try to feed it down through here, and it's only a little hole in there to get into here. So, and Don kind of made this little tool because I couldn't, the tool that was for taking that cap off, I couldn't get. So you got a little more leverage with that. And so he, it took a little longer than I thought, but it was, he did a good job. And as you can see in my back of my truck, some massive ratchet strap and grease tubes and this and that. So, we'll put it back together tomorrow and have a new improved measuring wheel set up. And we had a good week, so there's still wood in the yard. So, but I figured I'd throw this in there to finish the video. So like, subscribe, comment, and we'll catch you later.